Thank you, everybody, and welcome to the regular monthly meeting of the Mayor and Council, Monday, February 9th, 2026, starting at 6:32 p.m. Missy, could you please call the roll?
Mayor Nunziato.
Here.
Council President McGowan.
Present.
Councilman Coakley.
Here.
Councilman Errico. Councilman Guzman.
Here.
Councilwoman Del Rey-Cohen.
Here.
Councilman Mazzone.
Here.
Thank you. If you are able, please stand for the salute to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
Thank you. Missy?
In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Law, Chapter 231, Public Laws of 1975, notice of this meeting was transmitted to the Record and Herald News and filed with the Borough Clerk on November 21, 2025, and is posted on the bulletin board outside of Borough Hall.
Thank you. We have no presentations or proclamations this evening. Brian, could you please give us the engineer's report?
We've been meeting with the borough administrator and on a monthly basis now to go over capital projects, and we were able to report from that the Diamond 3 or Memorial Field North is in for permitting. We're doing a minor subdivision to get Passaic Valley Sewage Commission out from underneath the field. They have a small lot down there. That came back signed by Passaic Valley, and we've resubmitted to the NJDEP for the permit. That's one of the things they asked for, to get that straightened out. That's done. And we are working to get replacement playground equipment on the other side of Tryon, in that small playground there. And I think we're just coming up with budgets for Leisure Lane, getting finalized that, to get it a cosmetic resurfacing, which we're working on with the DPW. And I think, and we're putting together the 2026 road program, and the Lincoln Park gazebo is wrapping up. And I think that's where we're at. I know our planner has some, there's some ordinances on to come to a reasonable conclusion of the fair share housing process, and those are on tonight. And if you had any questions for that, I've been briefed by my planner, Lindsay, and so we can also entertain those questions. That's what I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Brian. Anybody have any questions for Brian? Councilwoman?
Thank you, Mayor. Brian, there was an issue involving home plate at either Diamond 5 or 6. It was sinking, and there was some concerns by residents. I know that we've had a cold spell, but I believe Bob said the engineers were going to look at it.
Yeah, I looked at it. It's scheduled to be repaired and rebuilt as soon as the weather breaks. You have an 8-year maintenance contract with Diamonds 5 and 6. That's part of the normal maintenance, and if there's any extra work to be done, that's still on the contractor, and that will be repaired to no cost to the borough.
Thank you.
Councilman? All right. Nothing else? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Revisions?
Yes, under the consent agenda, we'll be removing the referral to the planning board and placing it on as a resolution as item 9B, resolution number 58, authorizing the referral of the amended housing element and fair share plan to the planning board for review and recommendation. 58's going number 9B. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you. I'll take a motion, please.
Motion?
Motion by the Council President. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Coakley. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Council President McGowan.
Yes.
Councilman Coakley.
Yes.
Councilman Guzman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Del Rey-Cohen.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzone.
Yes.
Thank you. We have no ordinances on tonight. We'll now move to the hearing of citizens. Anyone from the public wishing to speak, please step forward to the microphone. Keep your comments to 5 minutes or less, please.
I don't think it's on.
Is that okay?
Yes.
My name is Erin Dillon. I'm a Rutherford resident living at 17 Elm Street. I'm a member of Rutherford Indivisible, New Jersey. And we would like to respectfully request today that the Rutherford Borough Council pass a resolution in support of codifying into law the State Attorney General's Immigrant Trust Directive. This resolution will reinforce Rutherford's commitment to fostering a safe and inclusive environment for all residents, regardless of immigration status. Governor Sherrill supports this bill to codify the directive. The borough's resolution could call for the swift passage of the Immigrant Trust Act. The Immigrant Trust Act would codify and expand the protections established under the 2019 Immigrant Trust Directive, ensuring all residents can access public services such as healthcare, education, law enforcement assistance without fear of detention, deportation, or family separation. The safety and well-being of our residents should be a top priority in the borough. By supporting the Immigrant Trust Act, the borough would not only be safeguarding the rights of our immigrant neighbors, but foster trust between residents and local government. The legislation would strengthen protections for vulnerable communities and ensure they can seek help, whether for accessing public education, calling the police in times of danger or domestic violence, or seeking medical care when they are sick without fear. The Borough of Rutherford should be committed to providing resources that help residents understand their rights and access to essential services safely. Putting forth a resolution in support of the Immigrant Trust Act would be an important first step in that commitment. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin.
Hi, Denise Corradini, 1 Walnut Street. You all, most of you know me pretty well. But what you may not, and you're aware that my husband works in Asia and is away from us for longer stretches of time than we would like. What you may not know is that he is a Brazilian national and a United States legal resident, but not a citizen. Much like during the pandemic, the economic policies of the current administration have made it necessary for him to remain in Asia for even longer periods of time. In fact, we have not seen him since September, not for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, for New Year's, not birthdays, anniversaries, weddings. But he is planning to come home soon for just a couple of weeks. And then I got a text from my son, Eric, who many of you know. I'm going to read you his brief text. Hey guys, I know this sucks to say, but I'm not sure Dad should be coming home. They're detaining people in Jersey City without warrants, and I just don't know if it's safe. My husband resides here legally, but that has not stopped ICE. That has not stopped them from detaining people, even citizens. And those detained are not only separated from their families, which for many, thankfully not for me, means not putting food on the table, not paying rent, but they are kept in deplorable conditions. I apologize. And mistakes are not quickly remedied at all, as we know. And they're not remedied without a lot of fighting and a lot of money. I was here in the fall asking you to put forth the same resolution in support of passage of the Immigrant Trust Act. Many municipalities did just that, although this council was not comfortable doing so. In response to the dramatic escalation of warrantless, masked, and often violent immigration detentions, the New Jersey legislature did take up the cause, passing 3 bills designed to protect the rights and safety of our immigrant and often non-immigrant population. While Governor Murphy signed only one of the 3 bills, Governor Sherrill has stated her support and asked the legislator to once again take up the 2 additional bills and get them on her desk. We need to ensure that they do that. I am asking once again for you to put forth a resolution in support of that legislation. We must show our immigrant community, somewhere back in time, all of your families were immigrants. All of our families were immigrants. That we care and that we are willing to protect the rights which already exist under the law but are being denied to them. We must ensure that they can feel safe sending their children to school, entering a government agency, seeking police assistance or health care. We have a very large immigrant community here in Rutherford, and we must show them that we care and that we are willing to stand up for them.
Mayor, council members, and Rutherford neighbors, my name is Sarah Asher. I live at 17 Monona Avenue, and I've been a Rutherford resident for over a decade. I'm also a member of Rutherford Indivisible. I've come before the council to add on to Rutherford Indivisibles and others' support to pass a resolution in support of quickly codifying into law the state AG's Immigrant Trust Act. Like others have mentioned, the Immigrant Trust Act would codify and expand the protections established under the 2019 Immigration Trust Directive, ensuring that all residents, regardless of immigration status, color of their skin, or language that they speak, can access public services without fear of detention, deportation, or family separation. By now, we have all seen with our eyes the gross atrocities occurring across the nation, both near in Newark with Delaney Hall or Jersey City, or farther away in Minnesota, and sadly dozens of other communities. We no longer have to ask ourselves, what would we do in a hypothetical situation? The situation is here, and the time to act is now, to safeguard our neighbors, the folks visiting and folks working in this lovely community that we call home. We cannot have those around us live in fear of being detained or deported based on just the language that they speak, or their skin is darker than my own, or just because they showed up to work and an ICE agent decided today was their day. You can take a quick walk down Park Avenue to notice the diversity of our community and people gathering together to share meals and enjoying the fun activities that this lovely town has to offer. Some of you may not know that 20% of our borough population is Hispanic. 20% of our borough population is foreign-born. 108 years ago, my great-grandmother immigrated from Austria to escape the Nazis. I don't want other families to have to hear about the experiences of escaping America. I'm sure we all want 100% of folks enjoying our town to feel protected by those representing us here tonight. Our small borough can be a shining light and join with other communities in the area, such as Bloomfield, Maplewood, and Montclair, to stand up for what is right and sign a resolution in support of the Immigration Trust Act. I trust that the council members will continue to have an open dialogue with their constituents, including Rutherford Indivisible, regarding how we as a community can protect one another. Putting forth a resolution in support of the Immigration Trust Act would be an important first step in that commitment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Laura Ninger, 54 Lincoln Avenue. And yes, most of you know me also. I was here with Denise in the fall talking about this topic. Others have covered the legalities of it, and well, my eyes kind of glaze over when I read legal stuff. But I have 2 anecdotes. When my wife and I were writing up powers of attorney and wills and stuff, just in case one of our family members said, oh, we don't have a relationship. Well, it's been, 21 years, but don't believe that. So the attorney said, well, someone could still challenge all this. And I said, so why are we paying you hundreds of dollars to do this? Well, the reason is because you need as much protection as possible in case everything goes awry. And that's the way I kind of feel like there's a parallel with this directive. The second anecdote is that, so some of us hold signs every Thursday in front of the post office here. And we get a lot of honking, and we get some thumbs down, and we get some, go Trump. And all the signs are positive, democracy and human rights. And to me, I feel I'm standing up for everybody's rights, even the people who don't agree with me. They have a right to say, go Trump, or, you people are a bunch of fools. We've heard that too. But last Thursday, this woman was out of her mind with rage. She jumped out of her car. She came right up to us, and she was screaming. I don't even know what she was saying. She was so enraged and going on and on about you people are hypocrites because you didn't support whatever, something about children being sold into slavery or something. And she actually said to one of the women, you must be 80 years old. And I'm like, what in the world? So she was a little bit, I think, a little bit out there. But imagine if all that rage and that anger was an ICE agent carrying a gun. So that kind of thing, I think, is really scary. And I think, yes, immigrant people, brown people, black people, gay people, because who knows who they're going to start picking up, need all the protection they can get. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Barbara Biven. I live at 129 Summit Cross here in Rutherford. I've lived here for 40 years, and I'm a registered nurse. In the past, I've been a Boy Scout leader for this town, and my father was a veteran of World War II. And I mention this because I've built my life around kindness and compassion and science. And I also feel, as the previous speakers have stated, that Rutherford Council should enact the Immigrant Trust Directive in order that we can have safety and legal interactions in this town if, in fact, we see ICE agents or whatever bad things might happen to the people that live in this town. As a registered nurse, I can tell you that many healthcare providers, mostly home health aides, are from an immigrant background, and they are living in fear. They're afraid to go to their jobs. We cannot afford, in our economy or amongst our population, we cannot afford to lose any more healthcare workers. As you may know, they don't make a big wage. They work very hard. So I appeal to the council to please enact this Immigration Directive Act so that we can make this community safe for all people. And I just want to point out, as we say the Pledge of Allegiance, we say liberty for all, not fear for all. So please consider that. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Anybody else from the public wishing to speak?
In a minute. Okay. Usman Khan, 17 Meadow Road. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you once again for giving me the opportunity to speak. I come once again before you all to speak about the crescent lighting. Now more than ever, diverse communities across the state are facing tough challenges and are witnessing ICE activity that are harming families. It is during these times where we get to see the importance of cultural holiday celebrations and uniting families. I simply want to remember the crescent lighting that was held here in Rutherford in 2024 and just talk a little bit more about it. The lighting was a true success. Council members and town officials came out, and more than 100 people were in attendance. a large amount from our own town, with those that were accustomed to our culture and many of those who did not know a single thing about it. Every single one of them appreciated the atmosphere and the spirit behind the lighting. Everybody had one thing in common to say, that they loved the lighting and that they wanted it to happen again. Everybody looked forward to it. They loved the community aspect of it. It was a display of culture and heritage that had never been showcased before in the center of Lincoln Park, the very heart of this town. I received many comments afterwards and questions when the crescent lighting didn't take place the following year. I gave them all the same response, that the borough had a new policy. People were not pleased to hear about this, and understandably so. As the year went on, more and more events were held in the park, contradicting the statements made earlier in January of the previous year, and that the park needed to rest and events would be selectively chosen to be sponsored. This year, Bergen County will once again be holding more lightings than ever before, numbering more than 60, with all of the neighboring counties of Essex, Hudson, and Passaic joining in, as well as reaching as far down as to Union and Middlesex, to celebrate the start of the month of Ramadan, a month filled with community, forgiveness, self-reflection. Last year, I joined the former incumbent Governor Murphy at his Drumthwacket mansion as he hosted an iftar dinner during Ramadan. He shared the same sentiments, with the former governor himself speaking about the sacred month and the awareness it should be given, as well as it being a lovely occasion for the community to get together, share, learn, and celebrate. A time where we can all figure out how to be one, acting as a catalyst for unity. It's why I would like to invite all of you on the council, including our mayor, to attend the Bergen County Iftar on March 9th, the breaking of the fast in Paramus. Many town officials from multiple municipalities in our county will be present, as well as the county officials and executives. I think it would be beneficial for all of us to have officials present from all of our towns, especially our own, as many from our surrounding towns have shown up to represent their communities. I believe Rutherford to be a town that celebrates its multicultural community very, very well. We understand the coding, we understand the legislation. We desire communication, an open mind, and a town that is willing to work with us and correspond, not ignore. We believe our town is capable of standing up by its promises of equity and inclusion, the same way it did for us 2 years ago, bestowing us many favors and opportunities to hold an event and do it so very properly. I'll leave you with this once more. The crescent lighting did what it needed to do. It lit up the hearts and minds of those in attendance and forged its way into the Rutherford community. It is not leaving till the recognition and attention it deserves is given. Thank you.
Thank you, Usman.
Good evening. My name is Hiba Siddiqui. I live at 5 Ellie Croft Parkway. And
Spell your last name.
yeah, Siddiqui, Siddiki. I live at 5 Ellie Croft Parkway, and I have lived in Rutherford my whole life. Living in Rutherford my whole life has honestly been a true source of pride for me. I remember, I don't know if anyone else remember this, way back when Lincoln School's playground had a fire and the playground had burnt down and they elected students to be a part of the recreation committee. I was a part of that committee. I played t-ball on Snoop Dogg's t-ball team. I was a part of ensembles for musicals for The Lion King, Mamma Mia. I have truly loved being in Rutherford my entire life, minus when I went away for college. And when I was younger, I didn't know that I could merge being Muslim and being a Rutherfordian together. I had always thought that these two things needed to be separate because for the wide majority of my time growing up here, I was the only Muslim in my class. I was the only Muslim in my school. And it was never to say that people weren't accepting of me or who I was, but there was a part of me that felt like I had to keep these parts of my life very distinct and separate. And when I got to college and I had heard that we were doing a crescent lighting in my town, I was honestly shocked. Like, I didn't even realize that this is something that could be possible in Rutherford. I thought that this was something that would always be very separate from one another. So it honestly is a bit of a personal plea from me, since I wasn't able to attend the last Ramadan crescent lighting. If members of the council would listen to Usman's sentiments and understand that something like this would be important not only for the entire community in order to showcase, a love and appreciation for diversity, but also maybe for Hiba many years ago, or even a Hiba right now in second or third grade who's Muslim, who wants to believe that the different parts of her life can all blend together. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Shanaz Arjumand. I represent the Muslims of Rutherford along with the Eid Committee of New Jersey. The Eid Committee partners with municipalities and community leaders across the state to promote Muslim inclusion through visible, respectful recognition of Ramadan, most notably through crescent lighting displays and welcome Ramadan events. Now more than ever, as our country witnesses escalating attacks on civil rights, rising Islamophobia, and deeply troubling enforcement practices affecting immigrant communities, it is critical for towns like Rutherford to take a clear and principled stand on belonging. In 2024, Rutherford did just that. The borough approved a Ramadan crescent lighting for the full month, and Muslim residents felt seen, welcomed, and valued as part of this community. And neighbors of all backgrounds were invited to participate and experience the richness of Rutherford's cultural tapestry. Last year, that recognition was taken away. The event was canceled, and we were given a series of shifting and contradictory explanations, including a proposal to limit the display to just 10 days instead of the full month of Ramadan, a policy rushed through shortly before Christmas requiring events to be council-led, followed by a refusal to lead a Ramadan lighting even as neighboring towns continued to do so, a claim that a junky display request by another group justified canceling the Ramadan display altogether, a comparison to menorah lightings held at synagogues to deny a crescent display in the park, concerns about park logistics, maintenance, and so-called sanctity of borough property, while other events, including Pride, continue to be held in the same park. And finally, a suggestion by a council member to replace the crescent with the so-called Ramadan flag, which is neither recognized nor meaningful with our tradition. We understand that building inclusive communities is always simple. That is precisely why the Eid Committee exists. To support municipalities through education, collaboration, and partnership so inclusion works in practice. Today, while neighboring towns are recognizing Ramadan using the civic frameworks applied to other communities, Muslim residents of Rutherford are being denied equal treatment. Neutrality does not require erasure. Consistency is the constitutional safeguard. Therefore, we respectfully request the Borough of Rutherford approve the email request from Usman for a Ramadan crescent lighting display from February 16 through March 23, 2026. Inclusion was real in 2024. Tonight, your vote will decide whether it still is.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, my name is Tara Getter. I'm a resident of Rutherford. I live at 124 Elliott Place. I'm going to echo a lot of the same sentiments that have already been heard tonight. My concern is largely around the treatment of immigrants in our state and the probably pending presence of ICE within our town. I did reach out to the mayor's office. I was asking if there was any sort of preparation plan. I also did send an email to Councilwoman Delray Cohn. I'm just going to read it because I think that's the easiest way to convey. Good afternoon. I'm a resident and mother of 4 young children in town. I, like everyone else in America right now, have been witnessing the ruthless brutality being unleashed on our communities by ICE and CBP. As we are watching this terror unfold in our state, we can see the rush to react and strategize after ICE presence is already there. Given that the question is when, not if, they will arrive in Rutherford, I think our town needs to be proactive in planning for what we can do to keep each other safe. I called the office of the mayor a few weeks ago and asked if any such plan existed, or if any communication has been made with the police department to determine if they, in fact, will facilitate illegal kidnappings and civil rights violations. I was told that nothing exists. The gentleman that I spoke to did tell me that the directive from the police chief was to follow the Attorney General's, the State Attorney General directive for the police. I've left various voicemails. I do not have any clarity on what that directive is. My question to you is why I urge you to address these concerns with the mayor and entire council. I look forward to your reply. Ms. Del Rey-Cohn did reply, but just said that we needed some time to look at that. Again, I think that what I'm looking for is, we've seen in Hoboken, we've seen in Jersey City, that following, these interactions with ICE, that there is a rush by council to potentially roll out rapid response trainings, know your rights trainings. We could be doing those things proactively now. Again, we know that this administration and that these agents have no intention of following the laws, right? We know that. We are living in a very alternate timeline where our rights don't really matter. But we can be proactive in giving people some sort of peace of mind in the fact that we are, at the very least, looking out for each other and putting those trainings in place so that we feel armed. I have a bunch of little kids, and I try to do, there's a lot of mutual aid happening in New Jersey. There are people that are organizing and are stepping up to be so brave right now. We are all strangers who communicate and provide transportation and infant formula and diapers. And I was picking up goods to donate and transfer, and my kids were asking me why. They said, "Mama, we don't wear pull-ups anymore." And I said, well, Mommy's getting pull-ups for somebody that can't leave their house right now, and they need these. And they asked why, and I don't lie to my children. If I have twins, my wife and I have a blended family, so I have twins, and then 6 years old, and we have another 6-year-old and a 9-year-old, and we're very tired. They asked why, and I said that unfortunately right now, there are things happening in our country that are not fair, they are not just, and they are not right. And it is our job as human beings to take care of one another in ways that we can. So that does not mean putting my children in harm's way, but that does mean that I can pick up pull-ups and deliver them without my kids to those strangers who need my help. So I think in the spirit of all of us trying to be as brave as we possibly can right now, I would ask that we take those actions to be brave and to, I echo the sentiment of Rutherford Indivisible. I would love to see the Immigrant Trust Act codified, but at the bare minimum, I hope that these conversations are real conversations that are happening at a council level, and I would love to facilitate rapid response training or know your rights trainings or anything that could possibly be done to at least show and show the community that you as our council, elected officials, are with us in this fight. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public wishing to speak? Seeing none, I'm going to close it to the public and open up for any council comment. Haslam?
It was coming. I'm just kidding.
And I was kidding.
Okay, so the through line of tonight's meeting is inclusion, right? I always try to find a through line. So let me speak just for myself at the moment, and correct some things that, at least from my perspective, would be helpful. This definitely came up in the fall. I remember when Ms. Cordini spoke to us about this, and I'll speak for myself. I did not feel equipped to know what we would need and therefore what we should act upon, because what is it, measure once? What is, Matt, you always say this phrase, measure once, but measure. That's right. But here we are. And what I kept thinking of, I am a severe empath, and I watch the news tearfully, but I watch it tearfully from a place of luxury. And I know that, right? I know that it is a luxury that my children were born here. I know it is a luxury that I am a white presenting heterosexual cisgender female. I know it is that those are luxuries. And luxury is actually a severely powerful weapon that perhaps I have not demonstrated that I'm using to my fullest, and maybe I need to consider how I use that privilege and luxury in a way that is more obvious. With regards to the resolution that you're hoping we could pass, we obviously are not in a position to do that tonight for purely procedural reasons. I am in support of it. I am speaking for myself. We have not had an opportunity to discuss it with each other. Tara, I did look at your note. I did look at your question. But I think what you're asking tonight is a bit more important, which is like, are we ready as individuals or collectively, as elected officials, to be braver? I think that's the right question. And I think that there are ways that I myself, again, speaking for myself, can help facilitate some of what you're seeking to implement in the community with regards to knowing your rights. There is an event happening that I was going to mention anyway. It's being organized by the Democratic Committee of Bergen County. It is not a Dems-only event, but it's basically a Know Your Rights event being run on February 12th at 6 p.m. I have the information. I could tell you how to sign up. There's going to be various elected officials and active folks in the government and politics who are going to help us find ways to push this energy into more productive or feeling more productive ways of helping. So I do have that information and I will share it, or you can just text me or email me for it. The other thing I'll say is that I do worry about this community. I do worry about the fabric of this community when it comes to immigrant issues. I worry about our businesses. I worry about the people that I've befriended in our businesses who have immigrated to this country and found themselves in this beautiful community. So I'm here to say I agree with you. I support you. I am married to someone who works in the nonprofit social justice area, and he's been doing a lot of this work in New York because that's where his organization is, but he has access to information in New Jersey. So my commitment to you is that I will find those various resources for us to share with one another and then decide a more formalized way, whether it's through Indivisible, which I know has tremendous resources. Can't wait for Indivisible to do the beacon on days later than 4 o'clock so I can come when the sun is setting later. But the only way to tamper out this feeling of woe is through weaponizing our privilege. So that is my commitment to you. I'm very grateful to you, Tara, for teaching your children at a very young age. I take that very seriously, to understand that they are fortunate and others are not fortunate. My husband used to do it in probably a more traumatic way, where he'd go to South Sudan for work and then show our children pictures of the things he saw. But quite frankly, it helped them understand, right, that the world they live in, it was a lot of cognitive dissonance for him going to those places and then coming back, and as he used to say, ordering a $7 latte at a coffee shop. So I want you to know you're heard, and you have my commitment. For those of you who know me well, know that if I give you my commitment, I really try to keep it. So let's figure this out. And on the resolution, we obviously need to talk about it, but I know at least where I stand. With regards to Usman and Hiba and Shanaz, Usman, you're like 2 years into college now, I guess, right? Wow, okay. So last time Usman was with us making this request initially, he was a senior in high school. And I was very supportive of the Crescent. I remained very supportive of the Crescent. I feel it very important to correct one particular thing, at least again, as to myself and as to this governing body. It is the same governing body that wanted to do the Crescent that then put in the policy about, I think it wasn't so much about the ceremony for Ramadan or Eid, but it was having the Crescent living in the park. And there were a lot of reasons, and Shanaz, I know you say they're shifting reasons, you're making it sound like something very untoward. I engage in anti-discrimination work for a living, so I take that very, very seriously, the implication that it was untoward to implement this policy. The good thing about policies is when you see how they are implemented, you are educated about whether or not you should revisit them. The policy for what we were grappling with at that time made a lot of sense, even though it felt very directed towards one group. It was not that. And I think if you look at the events that were held there, none of the events that we had in the park during that year were actually in contradiction of the policy as it stood. I can understand, you mentioned Pride. The Pride event was a one-day festival. That was not what the policy was directed as. So I take a little umbrage with the implication that we were being shifty and dishonest, because when you look at the policy as compared to the way it was implemented uniformly. And I'm sorry that it felt otherwise, but that's just simply not true. I am willing and desiring to revisit this with all of you. I have not received an email from Usman. I assume maybe it went to the mayor, but it did not get to me yet. That doesn't mean it won't get to me or it shouldn't get to me. And maybe somehow it's lost there, but I just looked again. I like to have it in front of me. So we should talk about it. And what exactly you're looking for. And what I'm going to ask of you is where I felt it fell apart last year was in a really lack of direct communication. There was like a lot of emails and a lot of disputes over what words meant and didn't mean. We had a couple conversations. I was videoed in those conversations. I was comfortable with that. But I'm going to ask again to have a direct conversation and to be open to compromise. Because I think we can achieve everything we all need to achieve and want to achieve, but inclusivity often requires some compromise. Maybe not all, maybe not a lot, but let's have a conversation about what we're looking for and what we think is possible. Again, I'm one person, so there's a lot of other people that have a say, but I want you to know from me that I am open to talking about it, and I hope we will. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. And as of yet, I have not received an email.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to applaud my colleague's eloquent answer. She's covered a lot of the subjects that I'd like to touch on, so I'll just keep mine brief. As far as everyone representing Indivisible, thank you for stepping forward and having the courage to do so. Many of you know me and know that I share your feelings on this effort. I would like to ask, and this can be a rhetorical question at the moment, if we could add an open discussion this evening under new business and discussion regarding, at the very least, instructing borough attorneys to research what it would take language-wise in decodifying this. Because to my colleague's point, several of us in the fall just weren't prepared. Sometimes these things are brought forth by the community, and it's very difficult up here to make decisions on the fly. So if that's possible this evening, when I'm done, we can figure that out with the borough attorney. And again, that's just instruction to do the research, right? That's a lot of times just the first step we need. To Usman and friends, that flag suggestion was mine. I apologize if it was offensive. I was one of the council members at the very first Crescent Landing. It was one of the most beautiful events I've seen in this place. And it broke my heart to have to blanket restrict all the events, right? My suggestion for flying a flag was merely trying to help and figure out a way that we could have that representation and inclusivity. I'm still working at it, right? To my colleague's point about privilege and everything available to me. I have to get stronger, braver, and do better. So I promise you at the very least that, but I was just trying to help. Thanks.
Council President.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to start with Usman. I know where is he? There he is. So I am the person in receipt of the email. So forgive it that it took a while to get to this side. And so, Usman, I was happy to see that you came this evening. I, too, am going to couch my remarks from my position on this and the fact that this has been an ongoing conversation. And, Councilwoman, thank you for really providing a lot of supportive information for what most of us experience. And I agree with so much of what you shared. This, I believe, has been an ongoing conversation for several of us since the day that we actually moved with having this provision. Mostly, at least from my point of view, was to address some very significant challenges that we were having with regard to requests for the use of the space of the park. For me, it was really, with no disrespect to colleagues, of course, the sentiment of giving the park a rest probably was my least motivating belief to even make this consideration. It was more about equity and understanding how we struck that chord between some who are saying, how is it fair for one entity to have it for 30 days? Somebody else then wants it for 30 days. Do we do it monthly? Do you do it weekly? It became this very large conversation that really well-intentioned put us dead smack of not really thinking through. And so in the absence of, at least again, my perspective, in the absence of having complete clarity, the answer is to step back and reassess. I don't disagree with the councilwoman, and I have expressed that as much here and with the borough administrator about my beliefs specific to our celebrations and trying to find a way. And we have had ongoing conversations and getting legal guidance about how to go forward to do this in a way, again, with equity being the goal. Because a couple comments that really struck me this evening, and forgive me because they're like, now I'm going to kind of cross-intersect here, because I agree. I feel like all of this just has this incredibly powerful thread that's happening. You said it is not just, it is not right, it is not fair, right? And to me, those words were just so much in the sentiment of this. And so I too would welcome a more in-depth conversation about how we can go forward in, is it possible to go forward with reconceiving this celebration part of it as someone who believes so very deeply about the power of inclusion. I don't see it with blinders on. I don't think about inclusion for one group at the exclusion of everyone else. You just can't think that way. And so I would welcome the councilman's suggestion for that to be a discussion item. So I guess what I'm saying, Usman, is I'm going to ask you to put a pin in that, because apparently there's going to be a greater conversation and a lot of guidance that has to come from our professionals to make sure that we approach this in a thoughtful, appropriate manner. And so thank you for the invitation to have a conversation, and I, like the councilwoman, extend that, and I would welcome that kind of in-person conversation as this continues to evolve. I don't know what that timeline will look like. I really don't, especially since we haven't had the conversation yet. So, so I want to. Well, I certainly know that I'm speaking from a place of very honest interaction, and so I feel good about what I'm sharing and my why for sharing it. The second part, this discussion regarding the immigrant trust. I'm really at a loss for words. So I guess what I want to say to everyone who spoke tonight is I am deeply moved by your vulnerability to tell your truth. It's one thing to say it to a group of 20 people in the room, but you know that it's on YouTube, and to bear your very vulnerable story with us. Thank you just seems incredibly shallow. So I hope you know that it means far more than that. I have a lot of questions about this, and I know that our guidance has been, and so I guess I'm just going to put this out here for perhaps Bob, for your consideration of a comment when the mayor deems it appropriate, or perhaps Jonathan, or even the chief. I do think that this is a very uncertain time, and I feel like that sometimes people make decisions because they don't have information. They don't know what it is they should do, and you can't wind back the hands of time after something happens. You can't, and I feel like that's what we're watching happening hourly at this point, forget daily. And I don't know if you would have asked me 12 years ago if this was what we were going to talk about sitting here. I assure you that never, never did I believe that to be the case. But it's hard when we have residents standing here sharing these deeply personal stories, and they come from a place of fear. And I would never want any resident that lives in this borough to feel that way, to feel like we are not prepared. They are not prepared, and information is power. So Mayor, I would ask that after council get the opportunity to speak, that perhaps that major issue of what it is, the guidance that we've been given, and what can we do, a more robust direction is my request for what can we do to show we are taking action on behalf of the residents that are looking for us to take a stand. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Council President. Councilman Guzman.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Members of Rutherford Indivisible, Tara, thank you tonight for being here. It is kind of crazy that we are having this discussion to begin with. As you can see, my last name is Guzman. Okay? Yo soy puertorriqueño. It's tough when you have to tell your kid that works in New York City to travel with a passport card. I do. We don't know what's outside of our community. We know we have safeties here that we rely on every single day. Our amazing police department, our borough attorneys, my colleagues up here, all emergency services. But in many communities, we don't know when it comes to an emergency how everything comes together when you're dealing with the unknown. I feel you. I hear you. I agree with you. Yes, Denise, you did come here last fall asking. My feeling was we were having a changing of the guard in Trenton. We needed to see who that person was going to be, and should we have support from the new person coming in. I'm happy to hear that our new governor is in support and asking for legislation. We are responsible here on this dais for every single resident of Rutherford. Although my decision, what I do at home, is very personal, I need to take me out of it because I'm your elected official. Protection of this borough is of most importance to me. I heed the advice of our police chief and his team, our professionals that sit up here today. There's a lot that goes into what is the right decision. We don't jump and just make a haste decision because people get hurt. We must make an intelligent decision what's right for the people of Rutherford. I really appreciate you coming in today. I am very happy to have Councilman Coakley, thank you very much for your suggestion. I am very, very much supportive of having a discussion of where do we go next, and to see if something can happen where we can put something forward to make our residents feel comfortable here. It's baby steps, it's government, it doesn't happen fast, we all know that, okay? But to your point, yes, we have to start at the local level. It all begins at the local level. And yes, Sarah, to your point, how brave are we to get things moving? So thank you for coming here today. I'm going to end there and wait for our discussion, but thank you very much all for coming in today.
Councilman?
Thank you. So I certainly echo the comments of my council colleagues. I look out in the audience and I see many friends and neighbor. I think I occupy a unique space. Christy noted it about being a white male and having a position of privilege. Just a few months ago, I was campaigning, knocking on doors and talking to community members and wondering how what happens in the world transcends to this dais. Wondering when people want to talk about what was happening in Gaza and Israel and how that impacts us here in the borough. So I thank you for coming forward and bringing this conversation to us. In my professional role, I think I have a unique position in another way in that I am a former Deputy Chief of Detectives with the State Attorney General's Office that promulgated the Immigrant Trust Directive. In my full-time role, I'm responsible for public safety at Teachers College, Columbia University. I don't have to tell you what happened last March at Columbia University and the impact it had on our students. When I think about safety and I think about how safety is defined, I recognize that it is not the same for everyone. And because it's not the same for everyone, as a governing body, we have the probably unprecedented responsibility of trying to protect the rights of the whole community. So that said, I stand with you. I fully would support a resolution or what this council decides as appropriate next steps. Councilman Coakley, I think it's tremendous to raise this as a discussion item because I think there's a lot of conversation that needs to happen. But whether it was at the No Kings protests in the past, when I was there, I'll be back. So I certainly support you. And I would also say that, we need to find a balance. We have a wonderful police department here in Rutherford, from our chief on down. And one of the things that directive provides for is the differentiation between what our local and state police are responsible for and what the federal government does. I've done hundreds of police-involved investigations, and I've done nearly 100 use of force and in-custody death investigations. And I'm appalled by what I see. So with that said, I think the conversation will continue. Usman, I've only been here for 30 days, so forgive me. I'm not the best. I might just be the best available. I'm happy to join my council colleagues in an in-person conversation with you. I always like to manage expectations. I think having the crescent lighting and supporting our diverse community is a beautiful thing. So if something is possible, I'm happy to collaborate with my peers. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. As far as myself, I work for the state. I have a facility that has 34 employees. Most of them are immigrants. The stories I hear in regards to when they get to work, how they get to work, I don't even have anywhere to start with that. My fear for them and everybody else, I truly understand what you're saying. I've done things for them just to help them in ways I never thought I'd have to step up to do. So whatever we can do as a community to figure out our next steps, I'm all in. So believe me, I mean, I don't have to, as Dennis said, being a white male in this country and feeling that you can't see it from anybody else's side, I live it every day with my employees. I see how they have to manage their families and what they do. So I have a great sense of what you're conveying to me. And I've done things for them that I never thought I'd have to do. So thank you for coming and sharing. Usman, I think probably best suited if we had a meeting and sit down again. Councilwoman, you want to spearhead this? Yeah. So again, I've seen it from that side very much so, and I see it every day. So thank you for coming and being part of something bigger than yourselves. Thank you. Discussion item, Jonathan?
I very much appreciate the public comments. I know it takes a lot, and this is an important issue. I am committed to working with the council to do whatever I'm directed to do in order to help, and thank you. You know, we're certainly going to take a look. I can tell you that this board is extremely sensitive to these issues, and this is not something that, you know, anybody is not constantly thinking about. I'm constantly getting phone calls, so I think everyone in this town is very blessed to have the elected officials that they have.
Bob, how do you want to move forward with discussion item? Add that in. Council's in favor of that?
Do I have to make a motion? Mayor, I'd like to add to the agenda a discussion item per the request of the council. Motion.
I have a motion by the council president. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Coakley. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Can I just have the name of the discussion for the record? What is it going to be discussed?
Can we just call it?
So, I'm sorry, so from what I'm hearing tonight, the initial ask was for a resolution in support of the act pending in Trenton, so need a resolution. I mean, I don't know the gist of the discussion item. The second part, there's a conversation about, you know, what our police department is prepared to do. I think that's probably a conversation we should have outside of business hour, meeting hours, to discuss with the chief of police what's going on and, you know, within his department, to have the attorney involved. What I can say is, you know, not knowing exactly how the PD is prepared, but whatever needs to be done, I am sure our police chief has prepped our police department with the law that they are permitted to follow. So I don't want to engage in something that without having that conversation first with our chief and our attorneys.
Mayor?
Yes, Council President.
Thank you, Bob, for that sentiment. So I respectfully, I want to say that I want to bifurcate those two matters because I think they're really two different things. My request for this discussion item is, I think we as a council, because in the request that I'm hearing are really perhaps one is the legal matter of getting, you know, and doing the investigation that you're referencing with our chief, who's been very involved in this for quite some time now, and just really garnering the facts so that we have that to guide that principle, the action part of it. But I think there's also a very human ask that's being made in here tonight, which is about a resolution, right, about our position of where we stand on this matter, particular to the unlawful detainment of individuals who rightfully live here, and the questioning of its legal standing and that matter of it. And so with due respect, I do think that we should continue forward with a discussion item about whether or not we as a council want to make a statement specific to that. That could be done in a resolution that may or may be separate from the actionable item of the execution of what the action is with regard to the Immigration Trust Act. I just kind of feel like one leads the other one. So if there needs to be time for investigating what the borough's position is or what the borough has in place to share with the council members at whatever, the next meeting, that's fine. But I just think that having the discussion to make sure that everyone understands what it is we're asking for, I think that's imperative.
Councilman.
I thought Councilman Coakley was simply asking for our attorneys to educate us on the legislation that is before the governor so that we understand individually as governing body members whether we support it, so that we would know for ourselves whether we would support a resolution. That's all so I thought you were just asking for us to give, as we do in discussion, to give Jonathan a directive to do that research for us and educate us in a privileged manner.
And I apologize if I did not speak
No,
more
no,
clearly earlier. I understood that to be my directive as well. I would appreciate an opportunity to come back after having done some research.
Unless I am misunderstood,
I could brief everyone, and I would also invite a discussion with the police chief, because I'm sure there are safety concerns that may or may not be for public consumption that I would integrate into that report.
Councilman?
Thank you, Jonathan. Yes, all this was because of the new process that was it brought in, what, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago now, where this discussion point in this agenda is for exactly this. Many times we get these discussion items put on the agenda and none of us have any background information on it, right? Bob, your weekly emails about updates in the borough are so incredibly helpful. That's information that a layperson like myself, right? We only have 2 attorneys on this board. If I get 5 minutes with Christy, like, she's incredibly helpful in discerning legalese and things like that. So all I intended to do tonight as a discussion item was follow protocol, get a vote to instruct, and if Jonathan wants to take it on his own, of his own volition, it's fine. But as I understood the protocols we adopted some time ago, this is how we do it. We can put something up there for the discussion. We can vote just to instruct Jonathan to do the research to then educate us. So Jonathan, that's all I'm looking for, is just with your expertise and experience, with the chief's expertise and experience, if we could collectively find the time, Councilman Guzman said it's, bureaucracy, it takes a while. If we could put a timestamp on it, like 30 days, to have something to sink our teeth into and come back before the public with, that's way too much time in my mind, but I understand everything else, every other moving part in this municipality. So again, all that was can we just follow protocol, as I've been instructed time and time again, to ask the borough attorney to do whatever it is he needs to do to kind of give us a summary of how we can move forward effectively to answer Indivisible's questions, even to Mr. Usman and friends' questions as well. A couple of open-ended discussion points this evening. So that's it. Thank you, Councilwoman Del Rey Cohn, for having my back.
All right, so basically.
Hold on, excuse me, Mayor. I have respectfully, that is not the motion that I made. So the motion that I made was to have a further discussion tonight, added to the agenda to ask, for us to be able to ask questions. If the motion, if there's not support for that motion and another motion's to be made, I just want to be clear that the motion that I made that was seconded was to add to the agenda this evening to have a conversation about whether or not we wanted to move forward with putting out a statement. I just want to be clear that that is not the same, we're not saying the same exact thing. So it's not good or bad, it's just they're 2 very different things. So I just wanted to be clear with my colleagues that that was what my ask was.
Correct.
So that is the question for point of order under Robert's rules.
Okay, so, I think you guys were both saying the same thing, just in a different way, and just had a few different points on this. Councilman?
Yes, with the exception of, in my mind, within that discussion, there could be a motion made to ask the borough attorney to do further research to educate us moving forward outside of this evening's discussion.
And I believe that point was just made, and he will do that.
Yep, totally understood. Just getting it on record.
Council President.
I agree with the councilman. My intention was for us to add this to the agenda so the discussion happens, so that then a motion could be made to go forward with that. I think I have some questions that I would just want to be able to ask, right? That I think are part of the leading the discussion, or at least that's my point of view. I hope that makes a little sense. I just wanted to be clear because I didn't want there to be a misunderstanding about why I was asking for it to be on the agenda.
Okay, so if I understand this correctly, you want to add this for a quick direction to the borough attorney as to our next steps, correct?
Respectfully, Mayor, the motion was to add an agenda item to tonight's discussion specific to this topic, and that was the motion,
So you want to put it on as a discussion item?
period. Correct.
Yes, okay. All right, Missy, could you add this as discussion item as to directing the borough attorney to this matter, as well as any other points that need to be made, so we'll just call it.
Mayor, I think the council president would like to call a vote to add this as an agenda item for tonight. I think my understanding is to help distill or guide the conversation in such a way that maybe the council's questions could be publicly better understood by me, and then I can come back with a more focused report.
You mean what I just said? So basically it is to move forward to,
Just to add this as a discussion item on the
yes.
agenda,
And do I
period.
get the-
No, and, just period. And then when we get to the discussion item, I believe perhaps what you are stating as what could happen may be what happens from the discussion.
we'll just put it on as a discussion item.
Okay, but the question is,
Call
what
to
is the
question.
title of the discussion item? The discussion item is, what's the title of the discussion item? What are we talking about? I can't just say, let's have a discussion.
Jonathan, what would you,
Discussion item about the Immigrant Trust Act
Immigrant Trust Act.
conversation, correct.
Vote.
have a roll call?
Council President McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
Councilman Del Rey-Cohn?
Yes.
Councilman Mazzone?
Yes.
Thank you. We have a resolution separate from consent, number 54.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 54, authorizing the procedures and conditions regarding the public sale of one new plenary retail consumption liquor license. Motion.
I have a motion by the council president. May I have a second?
Second?
Second by Councilman Del Rey-Cohn. Questions, comments? Seeing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Council President McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
Councilman Del Rey-Cohn?
Yes.
Councilman Mazzone?
Yes.
Thank you. Council President.
Thank you, Mayor. Next is resolution number 58, authorizing the referral of an amended housing element and fair share plan to the Planning Board of the Borough of Rutherford for review and recommendation. Motion.
I have a motion by the council president. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Guzman. Any questions or comments?
Mayor, may I?
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor, I'd like to read this into the record to try to provide some guidance to everyone about what this actually is and why we have to do this evening. The purpose of tonight's resolution is to refer an amended housing element and fair share plan to the Planning Board for their review and recommendation so we are compliant with the fourth round affordable housing requirements. On June 23, 2025, we endorsed by resolution our original plan that was previously approved by the Planning Board. Since then, there were challenges to our plan, and the borough participated in a series of negotiations and settlement conferences with those who challenged our plan as part of the fourth round process. While we weren't able to resolve the challenges via settlement by the statutory deadline of December 31st, much of those conversations were positive, and they're addressed within the amendment. For example, we are able to offer additional clarity on how we're addressing the prospective, I'm using my air quotes, prospective need for the fourth round obligations, as well as introducing the concept of affordable housing overlay zones in designated areas to address the borough's unmet need. After the Planning Board completes its review later this month, the borough will be introducing an ordinance at the February 23rd meeting to implement these actions, so there is time for continued conversation and sharing information. I know that the council was all made aware of this. I wanted to read that into the record so that the residents understood why this was happening right now. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? May I have a roll call, please?
Council President McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
Councilman Del Ricon?
Yes.
Councilman Zone?
Yes.
Thank you. We'll move on now to council reports. Council President.
Mayor,
Oh,
I'm
I'm
going to
sorry.
move the consent agenda.
item. My bad.
No, not a problem, thank you. This evening's consent agenda items, or all items authorized to be consent by the council, will be enacted by one motion, and these items are routine in nature motion.
I have a motion by the council president. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Guzman. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Council President McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
Councilman Del Ricon?
Yes.
Councilman Mazzone?
Yes.
Oop, thank you. New business and discussion. The first item is to change meeting time, February 23rd, 2026, to begin at 5:30 p.m. Bob, would you put an explanation to that?
Mayor, yeah, I would like to maybe not entertain this tonight. We were originally scheduling this for our annual elected officials training with our risk manager, but I anticipate we might be using closed session that meeting to discuss the affordable housing issues that are coming before us, specifically the document that we're referring to the planning board tonight. So I've asked our risk manager if we can change our training date to maybe sometime in March or April. So I would like not to change the meeting date at this time.
Okay.
No action on that then?
No action on it? Okay. B,
Discussion regarding Immigrant Trust Act.
Council President.
Thank you, Mayor. I just thought it was important to pull this out, because I wanted to be clear that everyone's voice, everybody had an opportunity to express either questions or concerns as we give this over, if that is in fact the will of the council, of which it certainly sounds like this is the direction we're going in. For my perspective, I wanted to make sure that questions, concerns, even a possible just overview of what this is and a reminder to everyone, because it is a complex issue. It is something that, as it's been stated, is awaiting it to move forward through the governor's office. And quite frankly, I know my leading question, and perhaps this is already understood by everyone, but I feel like this is the time to have those outward conversations about there was a lot of information over this past year during this time of the act that if there are laws that are happening at the state level, that they supersede what happens at the local level. And so I know that there was a lot of question, at least from my point of view, about what comes first. And if we were to enact a resolution, is it enforceable? And again, I don't know that you know all these answers, but these are part of the questions that I have kind of lingering on this. And then what does that look like for our law enforcement? Because I do concur that, what my colleagues all said is the truth. We are ridiculously fortunate to have an amazing chief and an extraordinary police department. But what I don't want to do is support something that gets in the way of them being able to do their job. But I feel like we're at a time in the world where, like, we have to have these conversations about, to Councilman Guzman's point, keeping people safe and knowing that there's been some directive on what that looks like, even as so much as having guided documents that maybe reside on a website that just say, know your rights, know what your, obtainable information. I don't know, that's clearly why I asked for this discussion, because these were all the questions that were rolling around in my head, and I think are really important, that if we're going to take on something of this magnitude, and we're going to take a position with it because we feel strongly and passionately that we get the right guidance, because that was perfectly said. Our job, sometimes I got to put my own fear and emotion to the side. This is about making sure that we do the right thing by 19,000 people. So those were, I don't know that you have answers, but those are the questions that I have out there, and I wanted to give my colleagues the space to ask their questions too for future consideration.
Thank you. Councilman Guzman.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council President. I agree with your vision of the directive. I think what we need to do here is, and to Councilwoman Delray Cohn and Councilman Coakley's point, there's an order of how does this get done and what comes first. Obviously, in my opinion, I think what I see as Rutherford Indivisible is asking for us for a resolution, and in my opinion, to my colleague's point, we need to understand the legislation that is put forth by the state in order to make our decision here locally of what direction we are going in. So I am going to zone in on that for my request, is just to get an understanding of what that legislation reads and how it impacts us here locally. Then I feel like I will be prepared to make other decisions going forth off of that. So thank you very much. That would be my directive.
Councilman?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you both for speaking up. And that's exactly my point is, yes, the state has passed down legislation. I've read state legislation till my eyes have been bleeding, and I sometimes cannot parse it, right? I am not trained in that language. It's another language. So all I'm looking for tonight is to the request that Indivisible has made, not to instruct the attorney to draft a resolution, but to merely summarize for us, or in layman's terms, as Jonathan has done so well in the last 40 days with his new position, what that means, right? Does it interfere? Last thing in the world I ever want to do is interfere with Chief Russo's job. The man is spectacular, our department is spectacular. What does that mean, the request that Indivisible has made, that our residents have made, right? What is it frivolous? Is it merely showmanship? Or does it give our police department more teeth? Does it allow for more protections for everyone knows what I'm trying to say, and I'm getting lost in my emotions. Thank you for understanding that. I'm literally just trying to follow protocol as we've been instructed previously by the borough attorney and borough administrator, who are both exceptional at their jobs. Tonight, what I would like to do, and I'm not going to make the motion as yet, but effectively just following protocol, I would like to make a motion, this is not it, to instruct the borough attorney to just research that and summarize for us, tell us, and even I would like to ask the chief of police to offer an opinion as to what this means, what Indivisible is asking. Because with anything, there's going to be two sides to that opinion, and I need all of it to be able to make a decision. So thank you all for your support and putting that on the discussion. This is really just a ask for more educated information. Thank you.
Mayor, can I thank Councilman Coakley for his pre-motion?
Councilman.
Jonathan, hi. My ask is very particular. I would like you to look at the legislation as proposed for the governor and compare it to the policy that our police department has, and let us know in what ways that legislation goes beyond what we are already doing. and then advising us on what risks there may be by us passing a resolution that goes beyond what we're doing as a department, what the department is doing, and then goes as far as what the governor is doing. And if I have that information, I feel like I'd be very well equipped to make a decision. I would love if you could, I am going to be that person, if you could get us that before our next meeting so that we're in a position to pass a resolution in the meeting after that, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Well, thank you all. I can tell, based on your comments, that everyone is acutely aware of these issues, and everyone has identified some of the areas of concern. So I will do as directed, and I will work diligently to get you that information in advance of our next meeting.
I mean, if I would, I mean, if you did it sooner, that put us in a position. Yeah, I mean, I believe in you.
I appreciate your support.
Yes, Council.
I would just say ditto to what my colleague said. I appreciate the thoughtfulness in this. A summary would be helpful. I think there were 3 pieces of legislation that went before the former governor. He signed 1. There were 2 that were left hanging. I'd like to know, where we are with that. And as Councilwoman said, I'd like to do it as expeditiously as we can and timely. Thank you.
Thank you. Council President.
Mayor, can I invite my council colleague who has telegraphed what he is going to do to encourage him to do that now?
Thank you. Thank you, Council President. And forgive me if I don't get the legalese just right, but I would like to make a motion to instruct the borough attorneys to research and summarize the Immigrant Trust Act and its effectiveness on our policy as a municipality.
I have a motion by Councilman Coakley. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Council President. Any questions or comments? First. Seeing none, may I have a roll call?
Council President McGowan?
Yes.
Councilman Coakley?
Yes.
Councilman Guzman?
Yes.
Councilman Del Ricon?
Yes.
Councilman Mazzone?
Yes.
Councilman, are you satisfied with this resolution?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Council members' liaison reports, please. Council President.
Thank you, Mayor. This evening, so I have a couple different ones. I'm going to try to couch them together and move as quickly as possible. Under Access for All, first I want to, we were just talking about our incredible Rutherford Police Department. I want to acknowledge our police department and our PBA 300. The members have dedicated every year to doing a fundraiser for Special Olympics. This is something that is wildly attended, and if you haven't gotten your reserved lane, I'm not even sure you still can come, but you should probably reach out. And by the way, if you can't come or you don't want to bowl, donations are accepted. Please support this incredible opportunity. They invite individuals with disabilities to come and bowl, and we see many of our Special Olympians there. It's amazing. It's Friday, February 20th, North Arlington Bowl. So again, just thank you for the love and the care and the continued support of our disabled individuals in pursuit of their greatest independence. Also, I'd like to invite families, parents, caregivers, maybe neighbors, in our community to something called the Special Parents Network. This is run by several members of the Access for All community. It's a welcoming opportunities for, like I said, family members, caregivers, to reach out and build community with other individuals from Rutherford and surrounding communities. It's held on Wednesday, February 18th at 7:30 at the Elks Club. There is no babysitting. I need to say that out loud because every year we have somebody who comes with small children. This is really an opportunity for adults to have some companionship and to build a network of caring and support. And I want to thank Liz Forte and a whole crew, Terry Spitwell, and I'm totally forgetting the third person who's probably not going to forgive me, but please forgive me. They have been leading this effort for years and years and years. It's a beautiful service, so thank you for that. And I would like to acknowledge, we heard it earlier tonight in the engineer's report, Bruno and Associates, our grant writers, Claire, who's just done a wonderful job on so many projects for us, is moving forward with the 2026 NJDCA Local Recreation Grant, which is addressing Leisure Lane. So many have reached out to Access for All saying, what about Leisure Lane? We're doing all this field work. What about the rest of the individuals, particularly those with different abilities or seniors that need additional assistance? This is a beautiful project. We're very hopeful for this funding that's going to enable individuals to have access to all of the fields and not have to walk across the grass, but be able to do it in a safe, meaningful, purposeful manner. This is a part of the Parks project. We are coming into phase 3, so thank you to our borough administrator and recreation and everybody who's been a part of this. Under the KIPP Center, this Friday is this Friday is the Valentine's Day event at the Elks. It is not too late to get your tickets, so please reach out to Kathy Baviello. And I want to throw another special ask out. I've mentioned this before. Our KIPP Center is just this extraordinary place for seniors to have fellowship and to have lunch. And Kathy and the board came up with this brilliant idea of inviting organizations to sponsor these lunches and then have your members come and integrate and be with everyone there. If you haven't volunteered to serve, I encourage you to do it. It's so rewarding. And again, that's a conversation with Kathy Baviello, or you can reach out to me and I can connect the two of you. But I would love to encourage our organizations in town that are so generous with their time and their talent, their treasure, to work with the KIPP Center. Under Women's History Month, I'm working with Councilwoman Delray Cohn on moving forward with our annual Women's History Month panel. More to come. I think we'll have something to announce at our next meeting, and we're looking forward to bringing it right here into the chambers, to bringing it back to the heart of Rutherford, so more to come with that. And I need to highlight some Rutherford businesses that deserve just a moment of our time. First, I want to acknowledge, if you haven't checked your social media and you did not know this, today is National Pizza Day. It's a very important thing. I share that because Commissioner Tracy Zur was in Rutherford. They were looking at some of the best pizza places, and Cassano's was one of them. And I'm happy to say they loved it. So if you are on social media and you take a peek at the county's social presence for today, National Pizza Day, Cassano's crushed it. Well done. It was so good. And so I'm just putting it out there in case you haven't ordered your pizza yet. Order your pizza today, tomorrow, every day. I love pizza. Let every day be National Pizza Day. And we have to shout out Brenda and Antonio of Fiorentini's. I hope if you have not, now you can just go on and watch things that happened days ago. Beat Bobby Flay, Rutherford's own, Fiorentini's. Antonio went toe-to-toe with one of the best chefs in the world. And he did himself, his family, his restaurant, and this community proud. I need to give them a shout out. It looked extraordinary. No offense, Bobby Flay, but I feel like Antonio got robbed. And so I just want that to be a matter of public record. I think he should have won. And there are so many events that I'm going to have to save some of them because I'm already getting that look from the mayor that I've definitely talked about too much tonight. So mea culpa. I know that was an hour ago. I'm so sorry. But since you didn't mind, okay, I'll do the last two. I want to acknowledge the Meadowlands Museum and their beautiful exhibits that they're doing, particularly in honor of Black History Month, and what they have done. And they had a chocolate tasting the other night. So I tasted chocolates, and I had a chance to look through the whole museum. And if you haven't been there, you need to go. It's updated beautifully. And then finally, to the Rutherford Irish. Congratulations on your Parade Dignitary Gala this past weekend, and we look forward to seeing Rutherford, which looks beautiful in blue, shine in green on March 1st. I think that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, then.
Thank you.
Councilman Coakley.
Thank you, Mayor. Real brief, with regards to the Rutherford Arts Council, tomorrow, February 10th, is the deadline for the Youth Art Banner Program. This year's theme is America's 250th birthday. So you can create something original, or if you have a drawing from one of your children from years past celebrating the 4th of July or similar, feel free to just snap an iPhone photo of it, ideally vertically on a flat surface, and submit. If you have any questions, the email is rutherfordartscouncil@gmail.com. Again, the deadline is tomorrow, February 10th. We have done an extension the last couple of years while this program was running by a day or two. So hopefully, Sarah, if you're listening, maybe we can punch that out a day or two. I see Kim in the audience. Maybe she can help grease the wheels on that extension. But again, America's 250th birthday, 18 and under, photographs, sculptures, charcoal, crayon drawings, paintings, whatever the case may be. Let's say a child drew the Statue of Liberty on a living room wallpaper. Snap a photo of it, submit it, and you'll have it for posterity. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Errico's not here tonight. Councilman Guzman.
Thank you, Mayor. I will not exceed my quota in speaking to this evening. Thank you, Council President. I'd just like to congratulate the Rutherford Junior Football and Cheer for their, I was able to be at their awards event where they celebrated their past season. I just wanted to give a shout out and congratulate to all these kids that put in all this time and all this effort, and the parents that go along with it. It's always nice to see all the sports community come together like this, and that was a very, very nice event that was held yesterday morning. So that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman DeRicon.
Thank you, Mayor. On behalf of the library, I would just like to remind the community that the date for the 2026 mini golf fundraiser that's held at the library, those dates have been set. Friday, March 6th is the adult session for 21 and older from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. And Saturday, March 7th is the family session from 10:30 to 3:30. If you have not attended, it is an absolutely wonderful event where the library is transformed into a mini golf course. Tickets are already on sale, and it happens to sell out very, very fast, especially the family day. So I encourage you to head on over to social media, reach out to me. I can get you the link so that you can participate and support the library. Also, this weekend is my favorite weekend in Rutherford. It is the tag sale at the Women's Club, which is my #1 favorite thing to do. I will be there all 3 days. If you have not attended the tag sale at the Women's Club, it is the most, I think, Denise, you've worked that event. It is the single most organized thrifting experience supporting sustainability. I donated 5 bags of clothes, and now I will go and purchase many back. But it is a great way to support the wonderful Women's Club, the amount of effort that these members put into this event, and it is just so beautifully done. And then everything that is not used is not purchased is then donated. So please support the Women's Club this weekend. I can tell you the hours because I sent them to my daughter to tell her Christmas is coming. Okay. It's February 14th, 15th, 21st, and 22nd from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Women's Club. And just to echo the council president, I just wanted to thank the Rutherford Iris Association for inviting us to participate in their celebration. Congratulations again to this year's parade Grand Marshal, Carol Gilhawley, who is a very proud Irish Rutherford resident. She was born in Ireland, as was her husband, and she will be celebrated at the parade. So thank you again for hosting us, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Maison.
Thank you, Mayor. Just very briefly, I attended Friday night the Meadowlands Museum chocolate tasting with our council president. It was an exceptional event. I sincerely would encourage you to check it out. There's a lot of great for homeschoolers and others with young people in the community. It's a great way not only to learn about Rutherford, but to learn about the area surrounding our community. And then, again, thanks to the Rutherford Irish. It was a wonderful event. First time I was able to attend and thought it was phenomenal. Looking forward to the parade on March 1st. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. My reports, the only thing I have is I'm going to add the rest of the committee members to the Welcome World, so we'll round that out with the members that we never reappointed. That's all I have, and I'll now accept the motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion by Council President.
Second.
All in favor?